I'm here with Eric Hammond at MIS Solutions, and today we are going to talk about cyber insurance. So, Eric, you have told me before that businesses, or that all businesses, especially those that are HIPAA compliant entities, must have cyber insurance.
Yeah.
Yet you still talk to business leaders and medical practices out there that don't have it. Is that right?
I do all the time. Unfortunately, it's true. Some of the reasons that I hear for why they don't have cyber insurance are it's too expensive. My business is small. Nobody's going to target me. And I also hear, well, my general liability coverage, it'll take care if there's a cyber incident.
That's not true.
It's 100% not true. In fact, none of those are good reasons to not have cyber insurance. And I want to dig into the too expensive one for just a moment. So let's assume I have a scheduled doctor's appointment and it's just an annual physical, right? But for whatever reason, pick a reason, I decide not to go. I'm too busy. It's too expensive. I don't want to pay the copay. Whatever the reason may be, I don't go. Now, I may be perfectly healthy and there's no underlying conditions, but I may also have an underlying condition that if caught early is going to be less expensive to treat. It's going to be less time I'm away from my job, from my family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
An analogy coming on.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So, you want to look at purchasing cyber insurance? Not when you're in pain, because it's too late.
Right.
You want to do it before you're in pain, okay? Because I can guarantee you, if you wait until you're in pain, it is going to be too expensive.
And probably pretty painful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, well, not to frighten anybody, but let's talk a little bit about why a HIPAA compliant business must have cyber insurance and maybe the consequences of not having it.
Yeah, so HIPAA is a difficult compliance regulation to traverse, and it's between the first party provider, which is the doctor, and the government, and the patient's really not involved, okay? And because it's an agreement with the government, there are very explicit guidelines, not just around how you stay compliant, but also what happens if you're not, i.e. the fines. And let me tell you, they are punitive, they are expensive, okay? And so I want to dig into just one example, and it's if you experience as a healthcare provider some type of breach and PHI is leaked, okay, or exposed in some meaningful way, you have to notify not only every single patient whose information was leaked, but any patients whose information may have been leaked.
Oh, okay.
And it's not as simple as sending an email to these folks because, again, this is an agreement between the first party provider and the government. There are very specific guidelines surrounding how you send that notification. In fact, there are companies who specialize in sending these notifications on your behalf. That tells you this is not easy, and it also tells you it's not cheap.
Right, right. It sounds like it can be a pretty complicated matter, and unless you've got a compliance officer on staff, I could see where some of these medical practices could be at a loss. So, what is a managed IT provider's role when it comes to their client's cyber insurance status?
Yeah, so it's really incumbent upon the managed IT provider to make sure that you are eligible to receive cyber insurance. And once you have that cyber insurance, making sure that you're eligible for renewal. And so every year when it's time to renew your cyber insurance policy, assuming you have one, well, what the insurance provider is going to do is they're going to send over a voluminous security questionnaire that is not easy to fill out.
Right.
There's always gray area, and if you don't know IT, it can be quite daunting. Okay? But the importance of filling these out correctly cannot be overstated. Quick example. Let's say you work for a company and you've been delegated the task of filling out the annual IT security assessment. Okay? One of the questions, do you have MFA? Well, what if I don't know what MFA is, but you know what? I'm super busy. I got stuff on my plate. I need to get something off. Okay? So what am I going to do? Well, heck yeah, I've got MFA. Let me check the box. All right, I'm done, on to the next. Well, here's the problem. Let's say next week we have an event, an insurable event, okay? So I have to contact my insurance company. Well, the first thing they're gonna do, they're gonna pull that questionnaire and they're gonna go through the list. Okay, you said you had MFA. Do you have MFA? Now, when they find out you don't, guess what? Claim is denied.
Okay.
So these are supremely important, okay? And so it is the managed IT provider's job not only to make sure that these are filled out correctly, but if for some reason you fall out of what I would consider compliance with respect to the questionnaires, that they're ringing your doorbell, they're calling you, they're sending you emails, hey, you need to have MFA per your insurance agreement.
Got it. Okay. So at MIS, we actually work with several different reputable independent insurance agencies that specialize in cyber insurance. So if you are interested or you'd like a referral, just shoot us a message. And Eric, thank you very much for sharing your wisdom about cyber insurance and HIPAA compliance.
Thank you, Carol.